So this video is going to be about the Grub Truck. I actually had several of my followers ask me if I could just do a video on it. Now, I wasn't really going to because the Grub Truck has taken on this strange life of its own where the conspiracy theorists think that there's all kinds of things in it that aren't. And so basically anybody that puts any merit into the Grub Truck being evidentiary, I just try to avoid. But I decided since people had asked me, I would go ahead and do a video. Now, when I say it doesn't have evidentiary value, that doesn't mean it doesn't have value. Obviously, it's very important to Kaylee and Maddie's families and their friends, because that is the last time that they are known on like public video to be seen laughing and smiling and living their life before it was tragically cut short. So it is of immense value to their family and friends. But as far as the case, the only thing it really establishes is the timeline. That we know where they were after they left Corner Club and before they went home. But I'm going to go through it and dissect it. And I am not a conspiracy theorist, so you're going to see me being a realist and discussing it with realism. Okay, first I'm going to show you some snippets of people on their phones, because I keep hearing people that are saying that Kaylee was the only one on her phone, or then later the only people on their phone were the group watching the underground fight club and yelling Xana. Well, none of that's true. Lots of people were on their phone, and no, there was no underground fight club, and there was no people yelling Xana. We'll get into that part later, but here are just some clips of early in the evening of people on their phones, just like what Kaylee was doing when she was at the Grub Truck. Okay, so we got a couple people over here that are on their phones, a couple more people there. Oh, look, a few people there, some more people there. You know, it's almost like college students like to be on their phone. Wow, how strange is that? Look at this, even another group on their phones. Now here we're coming across one of the conspiracy people who made a big deal about somebody that appears to be looking at the camera on the Grub Truck. So let's take a look at their clip.
Okay, so this one YouTuber who had the Linda Lane footage posted this, and I didn't catch this, but this is very creepy. This is a small clip from the Grub Truck.
Now here is some of the footage of that guy at the Grub Truck.
Tebow, you got someone.
So that truck at your own risk, Tebow. Yeah. Oh, yeah, somebody's ready to order.
Okay, so I left the audio on so you could see what was taking place. The guy walked up to order and Tebow was MIA. And then somebody else in the truck had to tell him there was somebody there to order. So while the guy was waiting, he looked at the camera, was probably looking at whatever was going on out in the street beyond the camera while he waited. Nothing nefarious, nothing creepy. And then right after that, the guy was eating with his girlfriend who was there with him. But yet, that didn't stop the conspiracy theorist for trying to claim that he could have been the perpetrator. So yeah, here he is placing his order, and then you'll see him turn around to talk to his girlfriend because she's back there, and she comes walking over, and then later you'll see him and his girlfriend and their friends eating their food. Nothing suspicious. Now, the next one we have is the guy who ordered his mac and cheese with egg and then bacon on top. And several conspiracy theorists tried to claim that that was code for drugs. And they said that you could see Tebow picking up drugs to hand to him. Well, no, if you notice in this, I leave the sound up so you can listen, he also ordered a soda. And Tebow was sitting on the cooler, so he got up to get the guy's soda pop out of the cooler. And you can clearly see him set the soda out there and the guy walk off with the soda.
Order a mac and fire with a fried egg on it, please. And then one mac of the week.
Okay.
And then can I get a Coke Zero as well?
Alright, is it all for you tonight?
Could you add bacon to the mac and fire?
Up next is a big burrito chicken.
All right, was it all for you tonight?
Yeah, that's it.
It's gonna be $24 even for you.
So here's Tebow getting into the cooler to get the guy's Coke Zero. And then you will see him give the guy his Coke Zero. And you can see in this next clip, the guy has his Coke Zero in his hand. Now we come to the guy in the poncho that everybody claims is Enan Harsh, but it's not. We also know that Enan was at work over in Pullman at that exact time anyway. But you can see in this footage, it's not Enan.
Can I get some Don Juan in my mouth?
Absolutely. Anything else?
Should I do this?
And you can see the non-Enon guy and his friends walk right by the camera. And you can tell it's definitely not Enan. So now we come across Joe. And Joe was harassed like no other from that food truck, outside of maybe Hoodie Guy, Jackass. He actually lost his job that he had because he was in this food truck footage, and had also given an interview about what Maddie was doing and saying that night. So people harassed him and caused his life to be turned upside down for absolutely no reason. And there were several people claiming that he wasn't eating, that he was just there hanging out. And why was he there hanging out with college kids when he's not a college kid? Well, guess what? You don't have to be a college kid to go to the food truck in Moscow, Idaho at night. A lot of people that aren't college kids go to the food truck. So you'll clearly see in this footage that he ordered food, and then also the Coke can camera that several people claimed he had is an actual can of Coke Zero that was given to him by the food truck that he ordered. Okay, it's an actual Coke. It's not a camera. So let's watch.
Yes.
2 waters?
Water. No, 1 water, 1 Coke.
1 water, 1 Coke.
No cheese? Got it. I got it right here for you.
2 5 cheese, 1 water,
Yeah.
1 Coke. It's gonna be $19 for you. Oh yeah.
Oh my God, Joe ordered a Coke. And look at that. The food truck guy got into the cooler and got his Coke for him and set his Coke there in front of him. It's not a camera? What do you mean it's not a camera? And then you see him handing the water to his friends. By the way, yes, that is the guy that was later with the person that stole the sign. But that's not a big deal. And then you see Joe standing there eating his food. Oh, but you guys all said that he wasn't eating, that he was just there hanging out, not doing anything. Wow, isn't that crazy? He was actually eating. And he actually ordered a soda from the food truck. It wasn't a camera. Who'd have thunk? Now, this next clip is also where people were claiming that he was doing a drug handoff because a gal walked by him at a fast pace and he had moved his arm down at the same time. But if you watch, she was swinging her arm back while she was walking, and he had just happened to move his arm down. There's no handoff of anything. So it's another conspiracy that people made up in their own minds that isn't reality. So you'll see the gal come walking up in the black sweatshirt. She's swinging her arm. He happens to move his arm back. And I'm going to replay it again because you'll see they weren't handing anything to each other. So let's take a look again. This is more close up. Nope, nothing was handed off. Now this next segment is when a gal walks up with a tan shirt and a guy walks up with like a tan colored hoodie, and people are claiming that it's Xana and Ethan. But it's not. But let's take a look at these clips just to see anyways.
They have Apple Pay.
How's
We
your night
have
going?
Apple Pay, right?
Of course we do.
Of course you have Apple Pay. Yes.
So if you take a closer look, that's definitely not Ethan. And when the gal comes back into the view too, you'll see that's not Xana. Nose is different, faces are different. The guy that they think is Ethan doesn't have a mustache. Reminder, here's what they looked like that same day. It's not them. Now, next is the guy with the sweater that was later over on the Republic on Main with the guy that had stole the street sign. and the cop had asked him about the bump on his head. Well, you can clearly see in the Grub Truck footage that he had the bump on his head. And he wasn't involved with the murders anyway. He was clear across town at his apartment anyway with the sign stiller, close to when things were getting close to the murder time frame anyway. So there's no logical sense that he was even involved. But yet that didn't stop people from trying to accuse him of being involved. But we'll look and you can see he had the bump on his head already at the Grub Truck. Now, I'm going to fast forward a bit after Maddie and Kaylee left the Grub Truck to when people claimed that they were hearing people yelling Xana's name and all standing around looking at their phones. And that's actually not the case. And also, this was only about 5 minutes after Kaylee and Maddie left the Grub Truck anyway. So it wasn't anywhere near the murder times at all. And you'll hear nobody is yelling Xana.
Love it. All right, that's the line again.
Oh, thank you, Joe. Okay. How far are we on that? You said it was a pester, right? Okay. How far is that trouble?
Like a quarter left.
Yeah, I know. Fucking working, man. I got one cheese sauce left in the roll. What's that partial in that? What's the partial in there? Okay. Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Did you put the last bag in?
No, there's no noodles over here.
Okay.
Actually,
I'll
you can toss the rest. I can get these.
Yeah! You're here! Let's go! Where is it? They've got 88.
Okay, so you'll see Joe and the sweater guy pulled their phones out, but they weren't really yelling or doing anything. And I'm going to zoom in on that group in the back because you'll see that maybe one person had a phone out. You can barely tell that. And most of the commotion is coming from that one blonde girl back there, and she's yelling different people's names. And they aren't Xana.
Okay. How far are we on that? You said it was a pester, right? Okay. How far is that trouble?
Like a quarter left.
Yeah, I know. Fucking working, man. I got one cheese sauce left in the roll. What's that partial in that? What's the partial in there? Okay. Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Did you put the last bag in?
No, there's no noodles over here.
Okay.
Actually,
I'll
you can toss the rest. I can get these.
Yeah! You're here! Let's go! Where is it? They've got 88.
All right, guys, we're back in.
Okay, so you'll hear the first name that she yells is, "Where's Tina?" And I'll play this twice for you.
Okay. How far is that trouble?
Like a quarter left.
Yeah, how far is that trouble?
Like a quarter.
Now the next name she yells is, "Where's Greta?" So I'll play that twice for you also.
Quarter left.
Yeah, I know.
Quarter left.
Yeah, I know.
Now the last one I can't tell. It's either Rihanna or Adriana. It sounds like she's saying, "Where's Adriana?" But it's definitely not Xana, and I'll play that twice for you also. Now at first first I thought maybe I was hearing them saying Adnesanya, Sonya, which was one of the guys that was in the MMA fight last night, because I thought maybe they were watching highlights of that. But then I realized the people, they aren't on their phones back there. There's like maybe one guy, that's it. It's the one guy standing next to her is kind of egging her on while she's drunk and jumping up and down, and she's yelling girls' names. And when she yells, "Where's Greta?" you'll see one girl walk over there and she'll give a hug to the gal next to her, and you'll hear her say Greta again. So I think she was just yelling out, from what I can tell, her friends' names that were all there at the food truck. But you definitely can hear Xana does not come up once at all. That was just people using confirmation bias, thinking they were hearing Xana's name.
Yeah, I know. Fucking working, man. I got one cheese sauce left in the roll. What's that partial in that?
Okay, so now that we've gotten past all of that part, that's not conspiracy, that was just normal things going on at a food truck, now we can focus on Kaylee and Maddie, and I'll play the video when they came walking up to order. And what I'm seeing is a snapshot into their lives that night after they went to the bar. They order food. They look like they're having fun. I am not seeing anything out of the ordinary. Nothing that would indicate the tragedy that was going to come later.
No, it's amusing though. It's fun to watch other people be miserable. Yeah. Have a good night. Hello.
Hi.
Welcome back.
Thanks. I think I would like the carbonara.
Okay.
I feel a
But if I have like a free Grub Truck on my app.
Oh, yep. So what you want to do is, we'll actually do
I'm about
this.
to make you show. I'm going to show you your work in the gym because you're still light, motherfucker.
There you go.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
How many more do you need? That's the second one? Awesome.
Dawn's mom. Oh wait. Yeah, one more. One.
Maybe I
Here.
didn't have a free one.
It's right here.
And then what was the mac? you
Don't
wanted?
forget to remove the
The
spoon.
carbonara.
The carbonara mac of the week.
Here, I'll grab it for you.
Excellent. And then click see rewards.
Enjoy.
And it looks like you not quite have enough points yet.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay.
then you said-
$10 for it.
Perfect.
I do have a big burrito pork.
Now, one thing I did see some people try to claim was that the girl that walked by with the red backpack, that when she walked by the corner of the food truck, handed Kaylee something after she went by. But if you watch, that's actually Kaylee being handed the ticket by the food truck guy. So another conspiracy debunked. So you can see backpack gal walk by and she gets past. And the piece of paper that's coming out is the food truck ticket. Now we'll pick this up when Maddie headed over to find a spot by the end of the food truck, and Kaylee walked over to her. And there's Jack right behind them. And I'm kind of doing this close up here so you can kind of see Kaylee's face a little bit. But you can see she is playing on her phone. Maddie's standing there. She's whispering things into her ear. It looks like they're having a conversation, just like girls do, just like friends do. There is nothing that looks like they're being distressed by anybody. Maddie does look a little tipsy. I was watching her in that other segment right before this when she hit the garbage can and then walked in the middle of Joe and his friends. But Kaylee is not showing to me any signs of being distressed at all. When she looks back up again, she's got a smile on her face. This just seems like a typical night out after drinking at the bar. You'll see. And then a friend comes up and hugs her and she's got a big grin. And everybody's just hanging out. This, like I said, this is a snapshot of people on a night out at after the bars. And Kaylee appears to be having fun. She's looking around. She was texting. She's got a big grin again. Obviously, her and Maddie have been joking about something. And we'll come here to this next segment. And this was when I was saying Maddie walked over with Kaylee. And Kaylee's still texting on her phone. They're still having fun talking to each other. Jack is back there. You can see Joe kind of standing in front of them. Now, Joe had admitted he was kind of annoyed with them because he said Maddie was drunk. But nothing in this looks suspicious, looks nefarious, looks like anybody's scared, looks like anybody's in distress. They're hanging out. It's at a food truck. And then Maddie walks up basically to the food truck window. And this is where she starts doing what Joe had said, that she was reaching into the window. And yes, she was trying to grab at people's food. It's pretty apparent. And this was that part of the footage where the gal comes up and hugs Kaylee. I showed it from the different angle just a few minutes ago. But you can see that there is nothing weird going on. People are waiting for their food. And I know right before all this, they said there was like a 19-minute ticket time. Now, Huda tried to claim that that was the guy putting something in Maddie's mouth, but he was handing the ticket to the guy at the food truck. And then you see him get his food. Nothing was put in her mouth. And then you'll see some other people going up and getting their food. And you'll see Maddie kind of looking up in the window. I think because she was drunk, she was just a little annoyed because it was taking so long to get the food. Swinging her coat around, putting her arm up in the air, pointing at things. You can see Kaylee just kind of, you see her every now and then kind of laughing. Oh, there's the non-Enon guy that people think's Enon but isn't Enon. He finally gets his food. Like I say, you can see how long that ticket time was. And Joe and his friends are still waiting for their food. And now remember, they ordered their food, Joe and his friends, before Maddie and Kaylee. There's another person getting their food handed to them. And then Maddie's still hanging out by the window. Somebody else gets their food. Fake Enon guy is sure getting a lot of napkins. It's kind of like the other person I saw in the footage that was putting every sauce on top of their mac and cheese. Now Jack is also conversing with them. And Joe is talking with them. And Maddie's still looking in the food truck window like she wants her food. And I mean, this is all we're seeing here. This is like a normal drunk college student. Now, I think Jack is doing the we're not worthy because the guy is wearing a tank top and shorts in 28-degree weather, which if you've ever gone to college, you know there's always the one guy that does that. They wear flip-flops and shorts to class in the snow or in the 20-degree weather. And then Kaylee's over there talking to Maddie now. And Maddie's still hanging out at that window. It almost seems like if she lets go of the food truck, she's going to tip over. Because I think that is just how a little tipsy she is. Jack is back there hanging out with Joe, not real serious. Nobody, like I say, nobody looks like they're distressed or that they have any impending fear of anything. Joe's pointing something out to Jack. Probably food. Now you see Maddie kind of reaches up again. And still no food. She kind of throws her hands up almost like, hey, where's our food? Says something to Kaylee. Kaylee kind of laughs. She's got a big grin on her face. That guy hands his ticket. Gets his food. Another guy hands his ticket. Then his food's going to get handed to him. And you look at how Maddie reaches her hand up again when the guy puts the food down. Another food gets put down. Another one. Maddie's just watching them handing everybody their food. I think she was just really hungry because she was drunk. I really do. And, you can disregard my commentary, but this is just, there's nothing nefarious here. This is people having fun. Late Saturday night, early Sunday morning. Waiting for food. Long ticket times. You start to get bored. You start to goof off. Kaylee's probably texting friends. I know when I was a college kid, if we had had cell phones back then, I would have been texting all night. Then she gets out her vape pen. This is when you're going to see her take a hit off her vape. Again, normal college kid stuff. Jack is still back there having fun talking to Joe. Joe's still waiting for his food. Maddie's kind of goofing off with Kaylee there. Turns around, looks at the food truck window again. And there, oh, somebody else's food. And Maddie looking up at that food, but it belongs to this guy here that kind of looks like Lou Graham from Foreigner. So that guy gets his food. And she's talking to Kaylee again as they continue to wait. Kaylee's laughing. You can see there is no tension there. I know I saw a lot of people saying that they were tense and they looked like they knew something was up. Nope. There's absolutely nothing that shows tension. Now, Maddie goes to try to grab that box of food again. Not their food. And I think at this point, that's when the whole exchange, I think, starts to happen. Because you see her grab into the food truck window again. And I think this is when the whole exchange starts to happen with her and Jack. Yeah, if you look, Jack's kind of pointing and saying something to him. And then Joe says something to him. And that's when the whole F you mister happens. And I couldn't really hear the conversation, even with the audio clear up. But I think Jack probably said something to her about her reaching in to the food truck. I bet my guess is he was giving her a hard time about that. And kind of teasing her about that. And you can see Kaylee laughing again. Neither one of them, like I say, look like they are distressed or that they look like anybody's following them or that they're concerned about anything. And right there, they're just yucking it up. Kaylee's got big grins. They're just joking. And you'll see pretty quick here that Maddie will like pose in front of the food truck window. And that's when Kaylee's going to lift her phone up and take that photo. And my cousin that goes to school up there that was there when all this happened said that it was on Snapchat. That Kaylee had posted a picture of Maddie standing at the food truck window like she was reaching up for food. So that hasn't happened yet, but we will be getting to it. I know this is kind of a long wait to narrate through all this stuff, but everybody's just hanging out. You can see more people coming and going in the background. As bars close, people head out to get food. I was actually surprised at how many people I saw in WSU clothing that came over to Moscow after the WSU game to get food at the Grub Truck. But then at the same time, a lot of them were probably staying in the hotels in Moscow as well. But none of this. There is nothing nefarious going on in this footage. And I dare you to try to tell me that these two girls look like they're scared of anything. Because there is nothing going on right now that shows you that they knew what their fate was going to be. And then there's Maddie again, putting her hands up on the window. Kaylee laughing. Kaylee back on the phone. Here we go with the picture I was talking about. So Maddie's up there with her arms in the food truck window and Kaylee flashes a photo. Now, a lot of people tried to claim that she was taking a picture of whoever was behind them, but that's not the case because I have it on good authority that it was posted on Snapchat and it was a picture of Maddie pretending to grab food from the food truck window. And Joe, I know, made a comment that the food truck guys were kind of getting tired of them and just hurried their food up and gave them their food before other people. And I think that might be true because Kaylee and Maddie do get their food before Joe and the other people that ordered before them. So you see there, they get their food and Kaylee's taking a picture of her getting her food. And then Joe tells Jack that they're leaving. And as you watch Jack walk off, he waves to them. A lot of people said he looked like he was rushing to try to go chase them, but you look and he waves. I'm going to slow this down again after it gets past this part because you can see Joe get his food too. But right here, watch Jack's left arm. He reaches out and waves to them and he puts his arm back in.
Yes, you absolutely
Show it one more time. He waves to the girls as they drive off. Okay, so that is it. I watched all 4 hours of that stream and condensed it down for this, and there is nothing of evidentiary value at all in this video. There is no suspect in it. There is no sense that the girls knew what was going to happen later that morning. Kaylee was laughing, goofing off, having a good time with Maddie. Maddie was tipsy. Now, of course, that could have caused her to have a slower reaction time when the attack happened, but she appeared to be having fun wanting their food and reaching in the food truck. Jack didn't seem annoyed. Like, he waved to them. You can clearly see him wave to them as he walked off. Nothing seemed suspicious there. Obviously, the people were not yelling Xana. We already know there was no underground fight club anyway, but none of those people were all gathered around their phones watching a live stream. It was completely innocuous. That video, though, is priceless. And it is priceless to the family members and the friends of Kaylee and Maddie, because it gives a snapshot into their lives before the tragedy happened. So you can see them out having fun together, being best friends together, and enjoying that late night, early morning together, not knowing what was going to come later. So it is priceless to everyone that knew them. But as far as the court case, there's nothing evidentiary other than it helps establish the timeline. That's it. So I hope we can finally put this whole Grub Truck conspiracy theory to bed and consider this one debunked once and for all.